Alright, my name is Teddy Petrosky. I'm 22 years old and I'm from New York City. I was like 12 or 13 and I was walking through Central Park and I saw some guy with like koi flags and I was like really intimidated by it. Like, cause I'm 13 years old and I don't really know much. I'm a super quiet kid. So I ran home and I did as much research as I could, like flag spinning, spin flags, ball, flag spinning, ball, flag, balls, 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 balls. And I eventually came across a website that I actually used to frequent a lot because they had really cool clothing called Cyberdog. And I really enjoyed Cyberdog clothing, but they sold these really cheesy little glow balls that were like 40 or 50 bucks. And I was like, I'm not paying that much money. But they gave me the name, which was most important, and the name was Poi. So I immediately just started Googling everything I could because at that time YouTube didn't exist yet. And so I came across Home of Poi and the Home of Poi forums and how to make sock poi, and that was my first start. I did every hobby under the sun. I did poi, I did magic, I still do a little bit of card manipulations, and I do magic tricks at, at bars for cheesy laughs and giggles. Video games, I was a hardcore video gamer. And over the years, poi was the only one that stuck. It's more like poi chose me than anything else. I actually don't spin very much at festivals other than when I'm teaching or when I'm on the burn field. Most of the day I am laughing and giggling with these random people who are so funny and so interesting and witty. I'll be sitting at a hookah circle for a little while, or I'll be sitting back here where everyone is and just hanging out and talking about, the community and the politics behind spinning. And then there'll be those moments that's like 2 hours long, 3 hours long, where I'm like with Keith or someone and we're just like going over things and drilling everything over and over and over. But then we'll sit down and we'll talk and we'll banter and be witty and like laugh at each other. So I come to the festivals not for necessarily spinning, but the spinning community, because I spin all the time at home alone, hours and hours a day. I don't need to spin. I was really heavily influenced by Cyril at one point. I used to actually move like him. I was that inspired by him, and I'm not the only one. A lot of people fall victim to that one. But then, I got to come out to out past my first fire festival to other festivals, and then I found people like Keith, and he just stole my heart in that regard. But a lot of times I get inspiration at the most inconvenient of times. I'm right as I'm falling asleep, which is why I keep a notebook right by my bed, and sometimes I have a hard time going to sleep. Because I start nodding off, and as I'm nodding off, I'm somewhere between consciousness and unconsciousness, and strange ideas pop in my head, and I have to force myself to wake up and write them down. A friend of mine, a dear friend of mine, just told me recently, we were on the phone for a couple of hours, and he told me, Teddy, you're a very selfish person. And it took me by surprise. I was like, what do you mean? And he goes, it's not a bad thing. No, it's a very good thing. There are ways in which you're selfish and it's bad, but there are other times when you understand that being selfish is a very good thing. For instance, he told me, you spin for 4 or 5 hours, sometimes 4 or 5 times a week, 4 or 5 hours a day, alone. Like, you take that time to be by yourself, and you don't tell people that you're going there. Sometimes people just show up there randomly and they're like, oh, you're here. And I spend all that time alone. And it feeds me as an introvert, but it also helps me progress. For instance, the first hour I spin, I'm just spinning to get the sake of spinning out of me. Like, I need to spin. And then after the hour, I sit down for like 15 minutes and I'm like, what do I want to do? And then I start working on the things I want to do. And then about 2 hours in, I really get into what I've been trying to do. And then for the last hour, I'm just like, whatever, don't care anymore. So, any advice I could give? Take the time to spin alone, and spin with people from time to time. But spin by yourself. Have a good time. This is your hobby, no one else's.
Understandable, smooth shit, murderers move with. Insight and light vision.